had this idea for a sort of unique instructional drawing video where I show you how to draw complex things in a very simple way. So if you're just starting out, or if this is the very beginning of your drawing phase where you're just sketching, this video is for you. And I call it For Mathematicians because a lot of times things like faces and hands, they feel very ambiguous and organic and sort of mysterious to beginners. So I thought I'd break it down into a sort of a geometric kind of mathematical approach. And that's what I've done in these videos here, is shown you how to draw something complex quickly and easily. So there is a lot of variation in these measurements that you can make, but this is just how I do it here, and just adapt it for whatever kind of style you want. So first you're going to draw a horizontal line, and then you are going to draw a vertical line twice the length of that first line. So this sketch is a total approximation. I did not use any rulers, and I encourage you to just sort of wing it yourself and feel what seems right. Alright, so now that you've got that, you can move on to the next step, which I call the thirds. This simply means dividing up the vertical line that you just drew into 3 equal spaces. And this will give you some very important lines to measure different things from for the rest of your face. I want to note also that the top line here does not actually signify the top of the head. I think when I was doing this I was in a bit of a rush and I forgot to mention that. This is basically where the face starts, which would be below the hairline, just below the hairline. So when you do add hair, add it above that top line. So now that you have your thirds set out, we're going to work on placing the eyes, and these go just below that first division line. There's not a specific height that the eyes are at ever, it sort of varies, but if you divide the space into 5 equal spaces, you'll get a general sense of where the eyes can go. Now, if you are an illustrator, you will definitely play with those proportions a lot. I find that in illustrations where expression is important, or if you're looking for a more cartoony look, the eyes are definitely bigger in that case. So now we're moving on to the mouth, and this one's a pretty easy one to place. You're gonna move just below that last second to last line of thirds, and you're going to divide that space into thirds again. So here I'm just drawing the lines. You have 3 equal spaces now, and your mouth is going to fall right about on that first line. Sometimes it falls right below that first line, sometimes it's a little higher. It really depends on the person, but if you're just going for a general face and not someone specific, this is about where it'll land. And as far as the width of the lips goes, that varies depending on what kind of person you're trying to portray. So now we're going to place the nose, which is extremely easy because the bottom of the nose actually falls right on one of those 1/3 lines you drew in the very second step where you decided where to put your thirds. So the bottom of the nose falls right there on that line. And again, the width of the nose varies a lot. If you're going for a more cartoon look, noses generally get a lot smaller. They're sort of diminished in size and importance, and you'll see large eyes are usually the emphasis and lips are more emphasized. So again, it depends on what kind of person you're trying to portray. And now some finishing touches. I'm going to be placing the eyebrows with, I've got some other features kind of just mapped out, like a general rough sketch here. This was a very quick, very rough and dirty sketch, just to get across the point that you can get a human-like appearance using simple ideas of math and dividing space up into thirds or fourths or fifths. The brows are actually very easy to place, just like the bottom of the nose, because they fall directly on one of those initial lines you drew to divide the facial space up into thirds. What I'm drawing here is a diagonal line from the bottom corner of the nose through the corner of the eye, and that is where the arch of the eyebrow will be. It will extend a little farther past that, which I didn't quite draw that clearly here, but definitely that's about where the arch will begin, and how pronounced the arch is really depends on the person. And the ears, they go from that same line of the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose. Very simple. And here I'm adding in the hairline above that top line. You always want to give the hair some lift off the skull because there is volume there. It pulls up off of the skull with that upward motion as the hair follicles move out of the scalp of your head. So then you can just do whatever you want, draw in, your outlines, draw whatever kind of hair. This face has essentially no emotions. I wanted it to look just rough and quick and dirty and simple, and show you just how quick you can get a face on paper. And it's not that hard. I don't want you to be intimidated. I want you to just go out there and try it, and then play around with the proportions and the math. Play around and get whatever kind of face you want. If you don't like any of the rules I've put forth here, they're definitely not rules. They're just a general idea. You can do whatever you want. If you want to make the ears big, go ahead. If you want to make some crazy face like this, you do you.